I have always loved television and movies that feature cities of the future. As a child, I was a huge fan of a cartoon called The Jetsons. In The Jetsons, the family had a flying car and a robot maid and a robot dog. One machine bathed and dressed the family, and another machine prepared all of its meals. Fast forward about 30 or so years, and moviegoers watched Tom Cruise in The Minority Report, a mainstream film demonstrating a more technologically enhanced city. In the year 2020, our cities don't look like the ones in The Jetsons or in The Minority Report. However, they are becoming more infused with disruptive technologies, like smartphones. Our smartphones help direct us, and they helped us find what we need, and they also help us find other things that we don't even know that we need. Simultaneously, sensors and surveillance technologies are being placed throughout our cities to help collect information about weather systems, transportation congestion, parking availability, and other environmental conditions. As cities become smarter, local governments are working hard to craft ordinances that establish basic rules and processes that must be in place when a city seeks to embrace a new technology. Previously, regulators sought to ensure aesthetics and safety. Now, they regulate to protect the privacy of individuals while embracing the opportunity to use the information generated by disruptive technologies. This has been a huge issue in cities like Toronto and New York City, who seek to embrace smart technologies without infringing on privacy rights. Why are we so worried about privacy? There are many reasons. One of the primary concerns is that personal data in the wrong hands might be invasive and harmful. The Americans for Civil Liberties Union, the ACLU, a U.S. nonprofit that defends the constitutional rights such as the right to privacy, has worked with cities across the country to create a model ordinance that can be used by cities as a legal means to support this type of regulation. Though it has some limitations, this model ordinance is the first of its kind. The ACLU's focus is on regulating the collection and the use of data, rather than the form of the data collection device. At the heart of the ordinance is assessing the impact of the disruptive technology on the civil rights of the individual. Cities, like Seattle, are drafting ordinances to help provide transparency and public input when the city council is considering the implementation of a new disruptive technology. This involves engaging the public through an advisory group in the discussion of the new technology, how it works, and how the data will be collected and protected. Berkeley, California is also following suit. There, the city council requires that local departments who wish to employ disruptive technologies create policies that outline how the technologies and the data will be collected, used, and shared. The ordinance requires the city to report to the public on an annual basis any violations or data breaches. In some places, like Dublin and Barcelona, among other smart cities, citizens are actually being given the data so that they can understand the world around them. The data is being used by these groups to envision solutions to local problems. From an urban planning standpoint, that has a tremendous potential for citizen engagement and dealing with real-world problems. Imagine a group of citizens who comes together to review crime data and local lighting data. Think of how much safer they could make the city and the access and mobility of routes in that city by bringing the data together and suggesting to citizens safe ways to travel. The goal of the smart city is not to embrace technology just for the sake of itself. Instead, it's to use the new tools to improve the quality of life for all residents and visitors. Fundamental to the quality of life in a city is the ability to understand and participate in the decisions that are being made. Smart cities, therefore, are those that prioritize citizen engagement to ensure that civil rights are protected, hopefully leaving us as happy and well-connected as the Jetsons.